My biggest piece for all of this is the customer journey. It is the team members you have on your property. It is the culture you create. It is how you make those guests feel. It is those individual touch points that make those guests really feel connected to your brand, to you, your journey, your story, and then I want to tell all of their friends. So if you can get that feeling across to them and show that you really did care, you actually listened to them, you're empathetic, and you really take care of them like beyond the bottom line, and it's about the guest, and from there it just goes like wildflower. Like it's fire. Like it is really to me my core piece. What I feel like is made open sky.
And as an operator implementing that, is there anything specific that you can point to of how you've kind of implemented that principle?
It's taking everything you guys all talked about to this point too. So it's setting that customer journey and that expectation line. It all starts with your website, is that first touch point, and then keeping that touch point all the way through until they leave. Because like you can't have a beautiful website and beautiful drone footage, and then they show up and then their check-in and arrival experience wasn't that great. They didn't really know what happened, and then the propane tank wasn't going, their AC didn't work, or their heater, or all these different issues. So if you can't take care of those, they leave, and like I didn't get my value out of it. I didn't have my expectations were set this, and I did left with that. So it's really just making sure you're committed to that.
And presumably some of the some aspects of the experience that you create have changed from the day you open, right? If you you've seen how guests have responded, and how have you changed things up from when you first started?
Yeah, absolutely. They will tell you what they want to see and how they want to experience it. So as long as you can listen and set aside your ego, and yes, we have to have a vision, we have to create something and kind of force it a little bit because this is what we want to make you unique. But once you kind of get that pushed through to a certain balance, you have to take a step back and realize, okay, it's not about you anymore. It is about your guest, individual guest that comes through there. So yes, listen to them and really just take their thoughts. And some will be great ideas, some will not be great ideas, and then just pivot fast.
Is there anything that you went in and you said there, it's not about you anymore, it's about the guests. And I think that's actually great, because I think a lot of operators may steam into this with a specific idea of what they want to do. And as I said, you kind of need a little bit of that, because you need to have that vision and stick to it, but also you need to be flexible enough to adjust once you're actually in business. So is there anything that you think you got wrong going into opening your site from day one that you had to adjust based on guest feedback or guest response?
I'm not gonna really say wrong. I think the biggest thing you learned from that is they wanted seclusion and privacy. They paid the extra money to be an extra 200 feet away from their neighbors. So our complete site layout changed dramatically after we had our first 3 units up. That was a big surprise to me. That was a big feedback from them. On the second go around, I mean, food was a huge one. It was a problem from day one that I didn't really realize it was gonna be that big of a problem. But food was a big one we had to really learn how to adapt and accomplish. And then one just as kind of a interesting thought was like with our second phase of building up more units, we had planned to have everybody park in the parking lot, and then we would transform them to their units and kind of keep all the vehicles out of all rest around the camps. And within a week, guests were furious. They're like, no, like why can't we drive up there? There's a road right there. And we pivoted within a week, like, okay, cancel that. Guests can go to the units. We went up with the Traco the next week, and we dug out parking lots. We put some rotomill in there, made it really nice, and into the sagebrush, and made it clean and classy. Now everybody has their own parking lots in front of each of their units, and guests have loved it. So that was one quick pivot as a story.
I'd be interested in knowing if there's anything that you would pivot if you could, but for whatever reason, whether it's too expensive or you've gone too far down the track. And so, let's say, I mean, knowing your luck, this could happen. The whole site gets blown over, you lose the business, and you had to start all over again. Is there anything that you do differently that you couldn't do now at Open Sky?
My biggest one is just power, like being fully off grid, dealing with the power issues, and trying to make sure there's a 24/7 power coming to all the units has probably been our biggest challenge. So if I could redo that and just actually be connected to the grid, I'd be a very happy individual. That'd be number one. Number two, water's not as big of an issue because you can have us holding tanks. So you can buy some time if there's an issue. You can have a day or so to get through the night. I would probably do a different types of mixture of my units. And this is what's been kind of interesting is as we have pushed our rates up, we've attracted different type of clientele. And so our clientele has actually changed from day one to now. So in the beginning, for example, we was on Airbnb, and we had 50% of our guests were coming from Airbnb. to where now we get 95% as direct bookings, and we got 2 reservations from Airbnb this year. Nothing's changed besides the rates going up. So that's been kind of interesting, is finding the different expectations from those individuals. So my mixture of units would probably change. So like our Star Seeker Superior units, those things are booked all the time. And so it's been interesting to find that right mixture of style of accommodation for your guests. So I'd probably change out a few of those.
Yeah, have you found it harder to go up in luxury and quality compared to maybe going down?
My goals are always set to go up, and everybody thought I was kind of crazy when I was proposing the numbers and ideas, all the different hospitality folks that I was mentoring from. So I actually kind of set my bar a little bit lower to begin with. And then really just every year I was kind of like pushing it until we kind of find that equilibrium. I think we're about right there now, where we're in a really good, approachable luxury. We deliver a great product, a great experience, and where they leave feeling like they got their values worth. I think we're right there right now.
Hey, quick interjection. Bygnal, well, first off, thank you for just using solar and using, a sustainable power source. I know it's not always easier. Hopefully it'll be smoother moving forward. I know being connected to the grid is always easier, but one thing I imagine is as sustainability and eco-friendly solutions become more important to the consumer, as we know things are trending that way, I realized I don't think it's advertised or shown on your website that the property is powered by solar. Is that listed anywhere?
It is not, and just so you know, we are launching a new website end of this month. It is going through a complete overhaul, so it's going to be completely refreshed, and that's going to be part of the story. Is that it's time to really show that off and talk about it.
What's the reason for the overhaul?
I feel like that we've kind of outgrown that as far as like trying to make it easier functionality side. Yes, it's beautiful. It's kind of more of a, like originally it was built as a landing page when I was trying to find investors, and we just kind of just made it work, bolted things on, and got past the last 4 years. We recently overhauled our PMS system. So in kind of in conjunction with that, it's taking the next step. We are going to have like a full video montage type of scenery across the face of it. So kind of you're spot on with there. We're rolling that out. And then really just kind of breaking it down into the functions of what we actually offer, who is Open Sky, and kind of getting more directly to the point and really helping those guests make the decisions easier on like which unit type and getting through that process quicker. More of the 1, 2, 3 click book.
Well, he's leaving the top 5% and he's going to the top 1% now.
Yeah, baby.
But you have to start somewhere, and you just have to continue to improve.
Yeah. The one other interjection I want to make is, Bygnal, I was just looking up your website as well. You have, on Google reviews, you have 4.9 stars out of 150 reviews, which is remarkable. And, when you start getting over 100 reviews, it gets super hard to maintain that. And I think the biggest reason is expectation. And, does expectation from a great website meet reality of a great expectation when people arrive? And, if people are coming to spend $800 for your units and your photography is so good, they must come in with a very high bar of what they're going to experience on the property. And based off your reviews, it seems like they're getting that and more. Just wondering if there was any secret to that or any lessons learned in terms of just like the reviews. And obviously public reviews are great for your brand and SEO. Just any thoughts on how you were able to achieve that or lessons learned?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things. So one thing that's quite fascinating is on the SEO side, the highest time spent on our website is on our reviews page, which is like averaging 6 minutes. So guests will spend more time on reviews reading those than any other page. That was kind of mind blowing to me, and that is very critical to us. The second piece is making sure your imagery, your videography matches the actual experience. If there's a deviation in there, you're going to have guests show up with those high expectations and say, oh, hey, that didn't match the pictures. That wasn't a true representation of what I was going to get. And then you have to work on guest recovery at that point, and then you have a bigger problem that you need to address and adjust something there. Either elevate your experience or kind of decrease your representation of how you present yourself online. If you get those two to line up, that's your golden ticket. From there, it makes it pretty easy. Then it just comes down to your team on the property and making sure going that extra mile for them. Now, there's been several times this year we've had to do guest recovery, and our team is incredible at it. Like The other day we had an issue with one of the AC units not really performing as good as it should when it was 108 degrees outside. And they're like, hey, we booked your place because you had AC. And we instantly went and got our other portable AC unit, went and put it inside the room. They still weren't happy with it. Even though it was cool in there, they didn't like the fact in their expectations having a portable window unit inside of their room, even though it was cool at that point. So one of the team members saw that and saw that they were vegan. So they went down to the grocery store and put together this big, beautiful basket of all this food products that they could enjoy during their stay. And they put it in there with a note card, and they put some flowers in there. And time those guests left were raving fans. They thanked us profusely for listening to them and helping them through their stay. And now they want to come back again. So that's one example.
It's like when you upset a woman and you have to go and get her flowers
Yes.
to make up for it.
Pretty much. You do every time.
So much.
Our team's great at that.
So much gold. God, so much gold in there. It's always such a pleasure to have you on, Bygnal.
Yeah.
What a great insight that people spend most of the time on your reviews page. So thank you for sharing that. And I have a tendency to oversimplify things like, oh, just make a great website. Obviously, the second and harder portion of that is executing and expectation meeting reality. So that's a good clarification. And then this third point about, things are going to go wrong, right? And there's kind of, what we learned in our MBA was there's really two things. Some guests want a solution, and some guests just want you to either admit that you were wrong or show that you care. Like if you made a mistake in booking or whatever, they want you to admit and try to remedy it. But basically, either they want a solution or they just want to see that you care. And you did both in that example, right? You brought them a solution. They still weren't happy, so you were probably out of solutions that you could provide at option. But then you went the extra mile and just showed that you actually care. Yeah, lots of good lessons on that. Thank you.
I will say one more thing too. And if it is your mistake, something happens, own it, acknowledge it right off the bat. And if you have to refund some monies, you do. Because to me, if we don't meet their expectations, we didn't deliver on that, you can have your money back. That's not important to me. It is about the guest. So I just want to make sure that was kind of clear too on how we operate. And that's not very often.
Did that idea come from you personally to make up for it with the hamper?
For those other guests? No, that was one of our team members.
How did you train them to think like that? Did you hire someone who was great at customer service in the first place? Because that's quite an unusual thing to do, to go that extra mile and completely turn around a situation. So how did you get in a position where you've got staff that can do that without you telling them to do it?
It's the culture that I've set. So from the day that I was there, so I started out checking all the guests in, I was doing all the cleaning. So I was on the ground floor. So I've been able to kind of take that. And as my team has grown, they've kind of seen how my leadership has been in that regards. And to where I give them the liberty to do that. And I have a great general manager too, and he understands that as well, that guest satisfaction is the most important piece to it.
Okay. And do you have tactics for getting reviews? Obviously, the main thing is to create an experience worthy enough to make guests want to leave positive reviews, but is there anything specific you do to get those testimonials?
We actually have not yet. It's actually kind of in the works. To be frankly honest, we have no follow-up emails. There's no follow-up texts. We don't really solicit for feedback right now when it comes to posting review. When our guests do check out, one thing that we do is our front desk agent, they always ask them how they found us and how was their stay and anything we could do to improve. And it's amazing what the guests will tell you. So we have our Slack channel that they post to every single guest that checks out. So every day I'm browsing through that. And it's a great way to kind of keep a pulse on what's happening with our guests, without me being there every single day. And that's one thing I did not want to lose as this company has grown. So that's been incredible.